Cleared the floor in the kitchen, and we're gonna take up the floor tiles to inspect the underfloor heating and how the tiles have been laid. How extremely easy these tiles are coming up. That the porcelain tiles just popped off the adhesive, probably because of the way the floor is springy, or potentially because of the heat being introduced to the floor, causing the tile to come off. To see where there's a crack running between the two boards, where the adhesive hasn't been able to cope. See that they're just coming up and moving every tile. Also, just to note that the adhesive's way too thin, that they've missed the corners out. It's coming up, it's literally about 1 mil thick on top of the ply. Where you can see that they've ended the overboarding of the ply, they've taken the tile under, left the void of a gap, and then just filled in the back with a adhesive, almost like a packing in a way, just to make up. You can see under the floor, under the kitchen unit, there's a bit of ply that's just completely loose, which was also tiled on, that they've just stuck down with expanding foam. You can see they've overboarded with a 6 mil ply, and it just moves. Loads of movement. I can just do that with my fingers, so imagine what that would be like with heavy tiles on it and people walking. You can see visually the cracks in the adhesive, which comes up dead easy to this ply boarding, which has so much movement in it, hence why the tiles popped off. We've taken up the tiles fairly quickly. Someone thought it was a great idea to use loose ply to lay tiles on. Lifting up the tiles, and then there's a 6 mil ply, and then there's an 18 mil ply. We've discovered the underfloor heating. There are 2 pipes doing the coil on each joist, and some sort of like plasticky foil backed sheeting. There's excessive movement in these floorboards where they've cut a square out to lay the underfloor heating, and they've just left the floorboards loose with no screws. And if you look here at this one, just moves. So this tiled floor was doomed to failure. Taking the board up, it's like a plasticky bubble wrap, very thin membrane down, completely leaving open air gaps so the heat would escape. These are not tight up to the floor, so it travels through the wooden ply. Well, anyway, you can see for yourself. You can see here, this is where the pipes come from the garage and to the garage, and here they are. So there's the underfloor heating, there's mains and gas pipe, and when I peer underneath, you can see that's where they go to then travel through there. There's a main pipe there, and a gas pipe. Okay, so I'm just taking up the 6 mil ply that the tiles were on. You can see that what they've done, just to explain now that it's a bit more revealed, you can see that the underfloor heating comes under like this, and they loop between the joists like so. I'm taking off the ply to get this. There's an 8x4 sheet of, I believe, 18mm ply that I want to take up to get a better look at what is underneath. You can see what they've done is to achieve the underfloor heating. They've basically cut a square out of the kitchen floor, removed all the floorboards, laid the underfloor heating, put ply sheets down, not really screwed anything down underneath, hence why all this bounce. So check this out. Hold on. None of these floorboards, they're all loose. There, and flex. Like that. They got one screw there, but no screws in any of the others. Half of the screws on the edge here were missing, so this was flexing like that. And even worse, check out this edge one. So no wonder these tiles moved. Not only that, the next board over flexes, so it's like one big trampoline basically of floor that wasn't really well secured. You can see how loose that board was by it's completely attached to that ply there like that, see? And then when you pull it out, when I try to pull this ply off, it just takes the board up with it. So that board wasn't even screwed down at all in any way whatsoever. Just to show you what's happening is as the floor flexes, the adhesive will pop off. The adhesive was only a couple of mil thick, and it was just popping off completely clean, hence why the tiles came off the floor. The adhesive also didn't bond to the tile either, so very poor job. So there is an underfloor heating when you lift up the flooring, which we obviously knew from the sight of that. This bubble wrap foil backed stuff, I don't know if it's man enough for the job. There's no extra insulation underneath, it's just a thin layer of that material, and as you can see, the ends weren't sealed or anything, so the heat could escape. There is a draft coming through there. If I just show you, it's just this thin material. It could have been supplied with, I don't know, not sure. But there is nothing extra underneath. It is this only to radiate the heat upward. And there you go. Just to mention that this is where the 8x4 sheet ended. They've put these 3 noggins on the side to support that board, and I don't know if you can tell, but when I step on it, the whole, they're not particularly good to bear a weight of the floor, hence again why the tiles failed.